Hello everyone and welcome back to ISS. We're here after a bit of a break, completely missed it last week because the OSAS finale took the spotlight. But we are here with 6 of the best ISS teams looking to be the third ever ISS champion. I'm here with AJ Cannon. How are you doing?
I'm not doing too badly. It's been pretty good so far. Although, judging by the time here, some classic tournament shenanigans have occurred, but we are in the game at the end of it, so should be pretty fun now that we are in it. Going to be Tycho Temple for the game starting off here. The Atlas ban from Boss. Maybe I'm just not a knower, but Atlas on Tycho Temple, not usually my favorite pick personally.
Yeah,
If you have any more insight.
I think the biggest thing is just like trying to take the opposing goalie off comfort, and well, I guess Atlas Band might do that. I do think there's plenty of other goalie options though, but we'll have to see. Ripstick getting the comfortable Asher goalie though is definitely a good sign for Boss here.
Yeah, Asher goalie on Tycho, pretty fun. Really hard to shove those corners when the barrier beam is there, or even the pass splitter. A lot of utility there, but we do have Juno on a 1-2 punch start, so that's going to be so much core speed that against a less mobile goalie like Asher, you can kind of just go around her. Can be a little difficult at times, but if you get your slimes placed correctly, then you can really do wonders there. It's also a Mako X comp, so going to be some scaling there on the side of goal, which should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we'll see if this Juno from Light Sky, now renamed to Cyan 00C5FF, which is Cyan somewhat, I gotta say. It's close to Cyan on the color wheel.
It's blue to me, so, works out. But yeah, we are going to start off here with some classic Tycho Temple bouncing off the drums. Nothing scored too quickly, which sometimes you do see off the rip, just an unfortunate bounce. But Ripstick playing pretty far up on this Asher, as you do like to see. Nice rotation with the Conqueror as well. You love to see the goalie playing up a little bit. Nice pass down to angle as well. And the double barrier. Great start here for Boss. Arenado comes out as well. Spots in the corner. They're trying to put it through, but they don't get it through because the pass splitter was perfect. The Ensnare Drum's going to keep it in this corner, but a kill onto the X. Doesn't even lose the barrier. Ripstick really solid on that defense with the assist as well from the team, but gotta say, not losing a barrier there. I would say losing one barrier is great there, but not losing any is amazing. Core flip used there from Respect just to buy a little bit of time, but now X is back on the field, and the goal still has not been scored just yet.
And Ripstick continuing to lock down both these barriers, but a slime might change that as it's a power play, but the Conqueror is the one who has all the possession in the world. Spots, notably, right? Oh, what a clear by Ripstick, perfectly vertical. Cyan on the top side does defend it though. Oh, and the possession is kept in the hands of Spots. But the main thing is just Ripstick's fantastic defense is making this offense feel impossible here. No matter how many angles there are more resources available for Ripstick, who always has something left to press. And now the core just keeps rebounding into the Conqueror's hands, who will strike Ward in for the first goal of the game.
Yeah, I'd say there absolutely was that defense from Ripstick holding it down, because there were so many times. I'd say the aggression was about equal on each team. Like it felt somewhat even in terms of time on each side of the field, but whenever it was on this left side of the field, it was just so difficult to actually get anything done through Ripstick.
Yeah, and we'll see if Spots can improve at that later down the line. Has built up a lot of energy here, so we might be seeing a flip soon, and does manage to get the X Maximus strike reset here.
Yeah, and that is an open goal here, so this time Boss on the back foot. They do get one barrier, but the Conqueror has to sacrifice almost the entire health bar for there, and there goes the stagger, almost into the drum, but not quite just yet. Going back for that goalie, or pass splitter comes out just to knock X around a little bit, make sure he's not going for the kill, but that does mean that a lot of time is bought. Rasmus is almost back on the field entirely. Still a lot of damage coming out here. Did get back up above the shadow threshold at least, but almost put back down below it. Core flips are also whiffed. Conqueror is not doing so hot, and it's not exactly his fault. He is just being focused really well here by Spots, and there he goes off the drum with the primary from Respect, I believe it was, that took him out. And now Spots in front of the goal with the bull rush, not going to be able to secure it. Juno catches the rebound, but even with the X Maximus, the goal is not scored. Arenado also buys a lot of time there. It's back in the corner. Respect puts it over, and actually, that's going to be a kill double here for goal, and they put it in the end, and that is a 1-to-1 here. Just kill difference on that point.
Yeah, damage is coming in here, and Spots is a big cause of that, but also the creations, right, from the Juno and the Mako are proving to be a bit of an obstacle here in Ripstick. Not as solid as the first point. I think a lot of that is the spots and Cyan warming up can hit around a lot better. And right now, though, it is a side of a goal in a lot of trouble, but they do manage to send it to the other side and get a barrier for it.
Yeah, you can see as well that some mistakes are coming out here from Ripstick now. You can only defend so well for so long, and it's really going to have to be a very concerted effort here to keep them in this game. But that is how it starts, with a great kill, finding the enemy goalie with the Arenado. Mako not paying too much attention, as goalies are wont to do. I say as myself, being one that has died to far too many Era tornadoes. And that is going to be another barrier going down, but Mako's back on the field to defend the goal at least. Let's see if the aggression pans out here. The Arenado comes out, but it wasn't fully cooked, so it's not going to get too much done. Dash strike down just to keep the core going and keep the momentum going. But the primary from the Conqueror is not quite perfect. Well defended by Respect there. Strike shot as well. The hook, not enough. Great defense there by Respect with Cyan on the assist. Slime as well. Red cornering all over the place in overtime. Goes to Angle, who goes to the top, and what a way to end that. Unfortunate for goalie. Defended so well, but it was just way too much aggression in the end from Boss to get it done.
Yeah, it was the perfect vertical clear into the perfect slot between the two members of the offensive boss, but in the end there was a follow-up. There was a well-played shot from Angle. But speaking of Angle, taken off the map on the top side, and now Ripstick advancing forward, trying to keep possession with the Conqueror, and they will be most successful in doing so, not even dropping a single barrier in the power play.
Yeah, the barriers being standing is kind of the pinnacle of Ripstick's defense here. He has been doing so well with keeping those alive. It feels like they're basically just permanent features of the map at this point. They got only taken down after so much effort from the side of goal, but the goal is still standing here for goal. Respect on that defense, really nice. Ripstick with the core flip, the goalie goal to finish it off. Ripstick saying, I can defend, yeah, but I can also attack when so much space is given. I mean, Boss controlling the entire field and allowing Asher of all goalies to walk up, core flip, and send it in.
Yeah, and Asher also even less mobile than she used to be, so it's quite impressive. And the reward will be a first pick Monumentalist here for the Era. We already saw some deaths to the NATOs, and that will become a lot more of a problem later down the line. And the first of many cooldown awakenings has landed onto the Asher, right? Heavy impact, gonna refund quite a bit of the primary in most situations. And if a prime time falls down or something like that, that is a problem.
Yeah. Oh.
Well,
it seems that there is some sort of problem that they were going through. But one thing I do want to talk about while we're on that, Spark of Leadership not being picked up is very interesting, to say the least. Generally, that would be a pickup if it's one single spark on the first set, because it's just so valuable. If you can even get one more spark, it makes your entire team so much better. But maybe Angle had some sort of issue there. We see Angle being the one AFK, and the entire team just stood to the side. By the way, that's really good to do. If you have something to communicate like that, make sure that you have some way to get to the other team, and standing in front of your goal like that is a pretty good way to do it. Sends a very clear signal. Just standing in the starter spot, you don't really know too much. It could just be a starting position. But standing on the goal line, pretty good way.
Yeah, Boss definitely veterans as to how they're handling this timeout, right? A lot of the time we see teams in OSS or ISS be like, well, I had an issue, but I just kept playing. And the answer is, unfortunately, well, you kept playing. But Boss, they know what they're doing. They get the game stopped, and Angle will deal with the problem, I guess. Something's happening, but hopefully it won't affect the continuation of this game. Only this point, which is now in overtime. And more on the Spark of Leadership. Yeah, I agree. A single Spark of Leadership is an incredibly powerful take. I would say for opposite reasons, though. I think it's incredibly good because of the fact that it's a single spark, not because it's leadership. Because leadership's incredibly weak right now, to the point where even if it was unbanned in tournament, no one would take triple leadership on starter. That's how weak it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's so incredibly unplayably weak. And apparently it also doesn't work properly either. So it's bugged to be even weaker.
Huh. I guess I was just not a knower then. I'll stop taking Sparkle Leadership in my games then. Sorry, team, you heard it here first. Blame Saya when we lose.
Okay.
I could have had 4 sparks, but he said Sparkle Leadership was weak, so I passed it up.
Wait, take it as a spark. Don't take it as leadership, you know? Anyway, it looks like they're back. We just gotta wait for a goal to get ready, and then we should be able to get started. Are we good? Oh, we're good.
I think we might be good.
All right.
All right, a good, nice start there as well. Etiquette dictates that you don't send it shooting straight out. So that's a nice thing. Ooh, instant there. Insta-kill from X. Spots80 finding that kill. Deep in overtime, you'd think that people go faster with how fast that kill happened, but it is just the core. But that core is going quite fast. Regular strikes, almost red core. You can see that long trail behind it. Bounce off the drum is enough to get it to go to red core as well. Pendulum swing is going to miss, unfortunately, but the barrier from Ripstick still staying alive. Same on the other side from Respect, though. Almost said Ripstick, but not quite Ripstick. Ripstick and Respect. We'll put some respect on that name. Spots80 going for a dribble off the drum. Nice play, but unfortunately expected. And the threaded needle there, finding the barrier. Good dash strike as well. The 1-2 punch coming in clutch there for the extra speed. Well done by Ripstick, but still not enough to get this goal just yet. X Maximus, Death Touch, everything being used. The Aeronado as well, that speed as well coming in clutch, but Spots80 just intercepting every time. Ripstick more dribbling there, waited a little too long to get the 1-2 punch, but the Ensnare Drum's actually throwing off the defense there. Unfortunate, but it's really hard to predict that one.
A little bit of an own goal, but definitely, like you said, one of the more unpredictable angles with the snare drums and the center drum getting in the mix. A lot of Mako, both the stage and the character. I will say, though, a lot of meter still available for the side of goal here, so I don't think they should be too disappointed, but it's still going to be so difficult to get past Ripstick, especially now with the heavy impact, has that many more primaries to work with.
Yeah, really good save with the drum there as well. Conquer not dying just barely. That barrier also just barely not going down. Aeronado almost enough to get it, but wasn't fully cooked. Rasmus going off the map as well there. Didn't have core flip, thankfully. That's almost on angle there. But still not ideal. But Ripstick might just be defending. Loses only one barrier. Loses almost two, but not quite. Great defense there. Again, so much assisting from angle as well, just blocking passes and making sure to limit those offensive options. Now Raz is back on the field. They do lose the barrier, but the end of the power play and so many things being used. And there we go, finally Cyan using that core flip. I was getting a little worried with how long he was holding on to it, but the dribble off the drum into it was really nicely done.
Yeah, I had that same feeling too. I was like, what? Couldn't they have used it on the previous strike? But where it ended up being used was perfect, right? Got the hits on a Ripstick, moved the goalie out of the way just enough to open up that top shot. Really well played, but the same can be said about Spots, who is consistently getting these KOs on alternating forwards of Boss here, catching them near the edge quite often with a dash punch, looking like Juliet out here.
Yeah, Julie X, if you will. Really nicely found to just keep hitting that combo so consistently. Respect with the defense as well. Not even losing one barrier, was very close, but not quite. Bit of a stall there from Ripstick as well is nice too to keep from going to the X. One barrier goes down now for Respect. Does still have that core flip. Doesn't necessarily want to use it for that first one, even if he could. And the pass player as well. Just going to keep it going forward. Slime pass to Self up at the top there. Really nice, but in the end struck war away. Aeronado is cooking up the top there, gets the core into the corner, but not too much further. Death Touch as well went wide, and now Rasmus goes off the map. The X Maximus finding so much value.
Ripstick trying to stall as long as possible, but these Ensnare Drums make the situation so scary. Good strikes by Angle Senpai, but a flip is huge from Respect. Bouncing it off the center, tries to mix up Ripstick, but the similar name on the other end will not get mixed up. The pendulum swing shot doesn't contact the barrier, and the offense from Boss is slowing down.
Yeah, it seems that it is the Conqueror and Angle are just finding it difficult to shove through this Mako, and to be fair, Mako can be pretty difficult to shove through. There we go, finally with the Whiplash used on Rasmus, able to finally get it. Bit of a close pass there to the X. Bull Rush also comes out, but in the end it is just close enough. Core flip also whiffed there, unfortunately, by Spots. Core was a little too far away. Bounce off the drum. Nice angle around the Ensnare Drums. Angle Senpai using the angles.
Yeah, I guess that's the reason for the name, or maybe the name was a reason for practicing those shots. Either way, Boss now with the lead in the set, with the lead in the game as well in the sets. And they are looking good, even though they are the ones being KO'd more often than not.
Yeah, it is one of those things where if you use too much for the kills, or you just don't have the positioning off the kills, you can't really get too much done. Or if your enemy goalie is Ripstick, apparently, that's one of the other criteria, because so many of these power plays have just been kind of neutralized and sometimes even going the other way. Angle as well, finding the second barrier there, and it's going to be the pendulum swing to secure that. Was looking rough at first. Goal got 3 KOs over 2 goals, and then they lost 3 goals back-to-back, and that was just unfortunate there for them, and really fortunate for Boss, because if Goal gets ahead early, if they get things like the Prize Fighter Ad Rush, which X gets at least one of those, it's just going to be really unfortunate going forward.
Yeah, but my eyes are on that Hotshot here. Hotshot, an incredible deny away from the Juno, and also a great another cooldown reduction awakening for that Asher, right? Even though the X is a KO problem, I think the bigger focus is on this Asher, who might be able to just pull the barrier down even in the power play. And that's really just the focal point of this draft. Everything else seems like flavor.
Yeah, if you cannot get it through the Asher, it doesn't matter how many times you kill them. But, on the other hand, if you can just kill the Asher, then not exactly too much of a problem there. But there we go. Nice setup along the bottom there, all the way from one side to the other, getting one barrier, but losing one on the other side, so tied up a little bit. But Ripstick really making use of those abilities aggressively now with 2 separate cooldown resets with the Heavy Impact and the Hot Shot. If you hit the core and a person, it's basically almost back off cooldown already. So like a 50% reduction is pretty insane. And there we go. Red core off the drum there with the 1-2 punch. Really unfortunate angle. Respect was not expecting that one. Slime winning that strike war in the end. Light Sky / Cyan able to get through with it. And Snare Drums bouncing off the drum. This time not own goaling, but almost the Conqueror was just barely almost getting that goal. Jeez, running over my own words with this one because this game is just so back and forth. The points are kind of insane. And there we go in the end. X Maximus comes out just to stun up Ripstick and keep him away.
Just enough here. Hit stun play attempted by the Conqueror. And now a NATO being set up. This could be huge. Respect forced to the bottom side, but it will be a core speed shot by Cyan, and Ripstick barely misses the clear, misses the corner, hits the wall instead, right into the waiting arms of Spots, who will say thank you and try, and is just in the middle of trying to desperately claw this game back for a goal. With 6 teams in one single group here, every single win matters in this group stage of ISS finale.
Yeah, that it does. And also, even just getting one more set could be the difference in a tiebreaker. Could also be the difference in scaling, because of course this is an ex-Mako comp well known for scaling. Even if you deny away a lot of the speed awakenings from Juno, such you can't, or core speed awakenings from the Juno, if they can just get one set, maybe they get the the team player just a little bit more, so they can actually start clawing their way back. Unfortunately, Spots does not die there. Angle was hitting a really nice angle with the Arenado, but just didn't get it perfect, and was really nicely played by Spots all the way through from the survival to the Bull Rush strike through Ripstick, and that is putting them 1 point away from potentially what is a reverse sweep.
Very, very aware Bull Rush there. Use it to knockback cancel a buffer right through Ripstick, attempting to hit stun. And you kind of had to do that as the X. That was the only way to make the play, and that's what Spots does. The X gameplay is looking incredibly clean right now, and usually when we see X, right, well, we're like, okay, can the midfielder get the core to the X enough in a lot of cases? And the answer right now is no. Look at Conqueror and Angle Senpai. They got all the possession. They got the double speed comp.
Yeah, they are... Oh, there we go. The Arenado comes through, and I was just going to say, they have the control. They have so many more opportunities, and it really does fall down to goal to really break some of this momentum that Boss has been going through. And it does seem that once Boss gets control, they really don't like to let it go. They're on top of things. They're getting one barrier after another. So many double barriers in this game from them, but not this time, just yet. Cyan is able to get the clear in the end. Slime struck war away by Angle, cooking up that tornado on the top, sending it towards the edge. A little bit ambitious there with the way the core was going, but it does take a long time to cook up, so cannot blame too much for that one. But it is heartbreaking to see, but that is not really good usage of the Conqueror's ult there, just hooking the Mako away from the goal line and making sure that there's just nothing you can do about it. You can try to evade save, but that's just such a difficult place to be in, because if you evade save, the hook hits the core, and now Rasmus has possession for the 50-50.
Yeah, that was so well played there by the Conqueror, who is looking to close out this game as soon as possible. The question is if that will be the case, as and now Spots also dribbling. Dangerous spot to be in for Ripstick here. Burned a ton of resources, and even though they have a lot of cooldown reduction, they got to be careful in these situations.
Yeah, you really have to be careful, especially you can see some of the nerves coming through, and you have to take a second to cool down, and maybe this is that second Ripstick needs when the goal is not, or when the core is not in his face. And there we go, Angle putting it through, getting that second barrier. The goal is now open for only one team. Slime's putting it forward in snare drums as well. The NATO comes out, but the core was cleared. Nicely done by Cyan there to get it out. Pass splitter whiffs as well. Rasmus is low, but so is X. Kind of a battle of who can kill the forward first, but never mind. It's the barrier that goes down. The bull rush comes out. Spots in front of the goal again. Doesn't matter how low he is. If he can get one more strike, this could be the set. But the whiplash is going to move it forward. The pendulum swing not secured. Spots goes off the field. Angle has the NATO, has the core flip. Gonna use them both. And that is going to be the goal scored there for Boss, and that is going to be a game with no sets falling to goal.
Well played. It was close in the sets themselves at times, especially the last one, but Boss with the clean sweep with the 3-0. Just making their mark. They're currently first in the standings of this group, and they're looking to keep it that way.
Yeah, and what a dominant first. You saw the X-Mako starting to scale a little bit, but not enough in the end. They're almost learning to count. You know, sometimes you see some games for that where it's like 0, 1, 2, and if they had one more game, maybe they'd hit that 3. Maybe they would scale just enough, but unfortunately they were not allowed that grace. They were not given the extra set there, and I gotta say, Ripsic only having 64 saves on the stats feels kind of criminal, but the 153 redirects, so many of those I feel were really saves in the end, because it just felt like an unstoppable wall there.
Yeah, and with that, that was Boss beating goal in the first round of the ISS Season 3 finale pools. We'll be right back, and we'll see you soon.
煮え切らない思い抱えてなんとなく過ごした日々説明のつかない感情難しい言葉などいらないと気づいたんだ茜に染まった過去と今を ISS 集団は修練の炎と心とも魂を燃やせ尽きない命と共に奴を道連れに最高のショータイムこの世の終わりが不死の呪いどちらかが勝利を収めるこの炎は消えない大嫌いだった月も人も少しは許せたから恨むことにも飽きたしたださまようだけの抜け殻には興味がないの不自然に揺れる森の先へ突き立てた指豪華に抱かれる準備はいい魂を燃やせ生きてる証を探そう私一人では見つけられない永遠の苦しみも切なの安らぎとなれ胸を焦がすこの炎は消えない魂を燃やせ尽きない命と共に二人ならきっと分かり合える聖なる裁きか気まぐれな戯れかはどうでもいいや魂を燃やせ尽きない命と共に退屈しのぎに最高のショータイムこの世の終わりが不死の呪いどちらかが勝利を収めるこの炎
Hello everyone, we're finally back. The static fell in a hole in the Phantom lobby and got trapped there for 20 minutes or so, but we're finally out of there. And the previous round took 1 hour and 10 minutes for a best of one, AJ. What's happening?
I hopefully cinema is what's happening, but also it's past 9 o'clock Eastern time, and it's going to be a very late night for a lot of people, unfortunately. So do your part in tournaments and make sure that you go at least for yourself as fast as possible.
Yep.
This has been a PSA.
We'll see. All the matches started relatively on time this round, so we should not have the emergency that we had last round. Unless this goes set 5.5, in which case that would be crazy. But we have a very spicy start on Taiko Temple, and Taiko Temple seems to be a favorite of ISS, and honestly everybody. Taiko Temple pick rate has been sky high.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those maps where kind of everyone feels at least a little okay on it, because it's got some nice core speed with the drums, but also some nice kill also with the drums, and with the sort of narrow map sides. So depending on how you play it, you can really play every kind of comp on it pretty nicely. Also, drums are fun, so pretty nice one all around. I am kind of surprised to see that the Luna went all the way to pick 4-5 instead of being an instant first pick, but the Kazan first pick, also pretty nice. I mean, especially if you play it, and I believe Sea to Stars does play a fair bit of Kazan. It is nice to get that priority as well.
Yep. Looks like this static using a banned skin, and we don't usually see that often, but well, it is what it is. And yeah, the main concern really has to be Sea to Stars, I think, in my opinion. It's just going to get targeted down. The Kazan is a very, very squishy character, not very durable, and of course he does have ways to evade. He does have the Carried Away, which is probably the bottom one ability name in the entire game. But that does give additional evade, but he is also incredibly squishy, so we'll have to be a lot more careful in the midfield against this comp, and we'll have to be a lot more careful as it nears overtime against the Fini.
Yeah, especially with that Deadeye. There is a lot of potential core speed there. So, gotta watch out. Also for the Awakening picks on that Kazan is going to be Awake. There we go. It is going to be Heavy Impact. That is a lot of damage, though, coming onto that Estelle. Almost the entire health bar gone. 2 barriers also taken here. And Dream So High actually getting a really nice defense for a while. Does end up losing 1 barrier, but does open up 2 on the other side of the map before that, so it's not too bad in the end. Nice whammy there from the Luna. Nice dribble off the drum as well. Distatic trying to use the speed. A lot of damage coming out here with the rocket dash as well. And that is going to be Distatic finding the kill. Or not finding the kill, finding the goal. No kills, but very close to kills earlier.
Yeah, well played, and the main benefit of that point is also that they maintain almost all of their energy, right? It's basically 2 flips available here. If they can get onto a fast offense, that would be huge for misconnections. But on the other side, the team of Let's Freaking Do Murder is defending quite well, all things considered. And wow, that flip being baited out by Midas is huge, but Midas almost getting taken out.
Yeah, good dodge, though, did save him, especially with the core flip on that era. Anything less than that dodge would have instantly been death. But still will be death. Nice pickup there by the primary from Sea to Stars. Whammy as well going to find LF Fishy again. A lot of damage onto this Estelle with the Bewitching Beam as well. Core flip available. The ult from Dreaming, a little bit ambitious, trying to catch the Estelle in a cross, I guess. Maybe expecting a Rose Warp there. But unfortunately doesn't hit too much with that. But still, that is going to be drums bouncing all over the place. It's going to be Estelle going off the map. Sea to Stars almost to follow, almost seeing a center drum there. But using the core flip, getting a barrier, pretty nice, all things considered. Even if you die right now, you've at least gotten the barrier. But will stay alive just barely. It was a nice card from Jet Seeker, but not quite enough. And that is going to be the Era NATO from downtown. Going to be taking off Erasmus off the map, but countered by Kazan, countered by a core flip. The counter flip from Jet Seeker catching Distatics. So a lot of stuff traded in the midfield here, but in the end it's going to be Rasmus on the field first, and that is going to be the Luna Dash missing. Unfortunately, the Air NATO comes out, going to take Midas off the field again, and Estelle also. That's going to be the triple take from Jet Seeker, buying a little time, the big finish as well, just to stall it out a little bit more. 3 seconds until Rasmussen actually Dream So High forced to use the core flip. There was a really nice angle by Jet Secret, but unfortunately that core flip from Dreaming was really nice. Piercing shot going to miss, unfortunately, there. Rose Warp comes out as well. Dodge against the Arenado, and Death Touch into Strike is really nice to pick up LFDM's second goal, but what a chaotic point that was.
Yeah, incredibly well played by Jet Secret. Completely cool-headed, right? No panic in the goal box. And with that Finny, with the boots on the Finny, has all the speed in the world when not hit. So could solo play that, especially when good shots weren't made. But good shots are going to be made onto this empty net. This time perhaps as the net is opened up once again in the favor of missed connections.
Yeah. But a lot of damage coming out of Xan. Not going to matter in the end as the goal is scored, but that is that Crater Maker off the field and no cooldown reduction on the Luna yet, so that is off for quite a while. Really nice to see that if you're on LFDM, not having to deal with it at the front of the set means you can get a lot of momentum, maybe even score fairly quickly. Pendulum Swing kind of interrupted by Triple Take there, a little bit of an anti-synergy from the team, unfortunately. LFDM not off to the blistering start that they kind of need before some of these abilities start coming on, but the Rocket Dash is not perfect. Almost a perfectly horizontal one from Midas, unfortunately, but doesn't actually get the barrier in the end, unfortunately for him. And it's going to be this Death Touch Strike mix-up, really nicely done. You'll love to see that. And the piercing shot is going to put Luna in the grave. And it is going to be LFDM taking that first set here against Misconnections, who I really want to call Miscellaneous because the MISC name.
I almost did that too. But yeah, it is a very, very good set win for LFDM. And my eyes are on that Glass Cannon for Jet Secret. That Glass Cannon is available. That Glass Cannon is going to make the Finny have unlimited speed. Oh, you can't be taking Spark of Strength like that. Frightfully Fresh, actually, when looking over his game on Demon's Raw in the past Nassau week, noted that his Glass Cannon take on the Momentum Boots Finny basically won them the game because you just can't keep up. If you have Glass Cannon and Momentum Boots, the Finny can cover the entire net as long as she isn't hit, and if she's getting hit, then they're burning abilities on you and not the rest of your team. Like right here, Fishy the one being targeted down. So that could have been pretty much the game for Jet Secret, but you know, a single spark alone, not bad either.
Yeah, I think one of the things, that little Spark of Strength on Kazan can also be a nightmare, so I think it was more of a deny of anything there. And of course, the prize fighter is a little more risky to take, so you don't necessarily want to take it on that Kazan because you are a little squishy, as you were talking about earlier. So I do agree, Glass Cannon was definitely the pick selfishly, but I think just making sure that your team doesn't die to the Kazan is also really nice.
Kazan does like no damage on his own though. Like he has 0 damage output, so I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here as Sea to Stars. No damage output, but plenty of scoring abilities here. Jet Secret still defending, and a mix-up. Dreaming So High thought it would hit the center drum, but the angle went right to the bottom of the net instead.
Such a narrow angle cut from a big finish as well. Like that'd be a hard angle to hit normally, but through the Finny ult was either lucky or calculated. And if it was calculated, then Jet Secret is definitely fearsome.
Yeah, to the bottom side now. A Fishy looking for the barrier, and the Static taking so much damage instantly, barely gets the orb in time, barely heals up just enough, but it really feels like the coordination is coming in from LFDM.
Yeah, and they are coordinating pretty well on these kills as well, and you see Luna going all the way across, but these rocket dashes have not been on point, but that is a kill coming out here. LFDM, well, they are doing some murder there. Another kill, double kill total there. Triple Take comes out to keep it forward with the momentum. So much damage on this Luna. The card goes a little bit wide. Pass up the rocket dash that time was perfect. Nicely found by Dreaming, but unfortunately it's going to lead to a double barrier anyways because there's just nobody else on the map. Now Era and Kazan are back on the map, but 2 barriers are standing here still for LFDM. Pass up to Fishy there. Piercing shot as well down to the bottom. Midas a little out of position. They're not able to catch the pass. Was picking up an orb, which I get. Orbs are tasty, but unfortunately the goal is not going to be scored just yet from that. The red core is coming out though with overtime with all the power that's been collected so far. The big finish comes out. The pendulum swing misses. The drum bounces all over the place. The Rose Warp hits the Kazan, but doesn't do too much. Kazan, unfortunately, not finding this barrier. The piercing shot not finding the core. Triple take comes out. Crater Maker comes out. So many abilities being used. The pendulum swing, the cards, they're all missing, though, unfortunately, and the core is just stuck in this corner. The core flip comes out, down to the bottom, up to the top. Piercing shot doesn't catch the core, catches Distastic, though, and that's a lot of damage. Potential for a kill here, but the core flip does, or not even the core flip, just the red core speed coming out here gets one barrier, and the goal is now open, but it doesn't matter. Again, Jet Secret with these big finishes, finding such crazy angles here into the bottom of the goal.
Yeah, it's all about that overtime, right? Has just enough core speed to make it difficult for this Luna, who often is caught without cooldowns. That is one of the downsides of playing so aggressively like Dreaming So High is, of course, as a Jet Luna, you never want to be forced to use your dash on defense, but not having that tool is definitely a huge obstacle in the open net here. And right now, it just looks like the damage is just consistent enough. Jet Secret's putting down the debuff, and the whole team is converging on whoever gets hit, and they get blown up.
Yeah, really good coordination that you love to see here, but unfortunately, speaking of coordination, a total lack thereof. The triple take own barrier, unfortunately, from Jet Secret. You can't win them all, but does stall it out, and Kazan is almost dead off of that, so maybe it was all calculated. Barrier does get taken here. The goal is open. That is a card taking off Kazan. The piercing shot countered away by a strike war from the Luna. Nicely timed there. Can be difficult to defend against at a style if you're not expecting it. Passed down, and Midas intercepted by the Bewitching Beam. This core flip on the Era is available, and the goals are open. But if you hold on for it for too long... Oh, and unfortunately with the core flip there, Crystal Thorns comes out, but it is intercepted. Cetastar's running a really good interference, and that's going to be the goal here. The first one of the set here, scored by Luna. Again, that Deadeye speed is just so great at all times, but especially in overtime on that dash. It just makes the core go so fast.
Well played by Dreaming So High. I gotta say, though, I think Fishy could afford to look for more passes, right? Midas is passing a lot, Fishy's passing some, but when they have the core in front of the net like that, they can afford to look for a few more passes, it feels like, to just keep the possession in their hands. I think that LFDM are doing quite well in the offense, so just like keeping the pressure on and forcing, I almost said miscellaneous again, misconnections to make a mistake, that should be the goal.
Yeah, it is one of those things. Passing is really nice, but ooh, almost Cetastar's finding the tech there. Core flip burned off the Rasmus, though, in the face of that Crater Maker. Nicely dodged, but unfortunate that you have to lose the core flip for it. Great card, though, finds the core flip from the Luna, and the pendulum swing while the Luna is dashing away. Just nice stuff all around. Ella Fishy looking very low here, but a nice Rose Warp does take him to the empty space, and that's going to be the core flip down to the bottom to secure the set. Only 1 point here scored by missed connections, and it does appear that they are missing some connections, just not getting what they need to get the core all the way across and set up in front of the net.
Yeah, the connections are all happening by Let's Frickin' Do Murder, which is a crazy team name. Their team name wasn't like this in the ISS Weeklies. Their team name was, I think it was something relating to I don't even remember, but yeah, it is. Now the Spark of Agility with the Spark of Strength. So Glass Cannon at home for Jet Secret here. And honestly, not bad. Glass Cannon at home looking quite solid now that we're at this point, but my eyes are on that Kazan. Got a million size, the Among Titans on the static and the recovery drone. That Kazan is a scoring threat.
Yeah, as well as just the active effect, right? Not really active, but the ability effect of that recovery drone, the ability to save you only once per set, but it's still really nice for keeping up momentum in some of these. So if they can make the sets not go super long, Cetastar's can use that just as a way to secure a point or a barrier at some time, saying, doesn't matter if I die, I have that extra life. But unfortunately, that is going to be one barrier going down here for misconnections, and they're just still not able to get what they need. The dash from Luna, not perfect. The Crater Maker, though, does choke out the options for Jet Secret, and Cetastar's almost finding the kill here onto Rasmus, but it's still going to be Era in the end that gets taken out by the triple take. I believe Era just kind of walked into that one, unfortunately, thought it was over, maybe trying to walk between it, but unfortunately, that's going to mean that the barrier does not fall. The piercing shot was not perfect, so misconnection still in this, but just barely.
Yeah, just barely missing the connections here. The same cannot be said about Midas, who gets it done with the barrier take on the other end. The static patrolling the midfield, has plenty of speed with the Among Titans now. They're trying to get it around Cetastar's, who is almost KO'd here. Recovery drone finally popped and the core speed activated. Oh, what a back pass by Midas, but Jet Secret wasn't there. There was a bit of missed connections for Let's Frickin' Do Murder.
Yeah, I mean, they did do some murder. They at least got the Kazan recovery drone, so it's not all bad. Taking a point to get rid of the recovery drone is nice in some ways because it does mean that you can put a little more pressure, but it didn't have to be a trade on that one. They could have scored. Unfortunately, the communication was not there completely. Sea to Stars very low again, though. The rocket dash from Luna is nice, but not enough to secure a barrier just yet. Fishy winning a great strike war around the era multiple times with that drum as well. Midas trying to go around here, but they're just not getting the angles through. It's beginning to be choked out here by misconnections. They're trying to do a little bit more, but then Kazan instantly dies there. Nice catch off the drum in the middle, and now the offense is switching a lot more. The Crystal Thorns finds the last little one onto the barrier there. Bounce here with the Crater Maker as well. Nice dodge by Midas. Piercing shot, pendulum swing, the Restel combo there. What can you do except for a core flip? But you're not expecting that because they staggered it so that you think you can clear it away from the piercing shot, and then only then did the pendulum swing come through.
Yeah, that was a nasty combo. Yeah, like you said, the only way to deal with that is by doing something so far in advance that once it's happening, it's already too late. And well set up by LFDM. They got it done, but they still have to get it done even more in this set. 2 points to go to close out this game and set themselves on track to maybe make it into the final bracket here.
Yeah, big finish as well from Jet Secret have been a highlight of this one. Really good at getting the core forward with them. Great core control out of an ability that is more known for sending it backwards, if anything, than getting precise shots. But in the end, there we go. Another goal for misconnections. And if this is a close set, if this goes to 0.5, I feel like there's going to be some talkings, too, on some back pass rules for Midas here. But hopefully it doesn't come to that, and LFDM is able to take these for Midas's sake, if nothing else. But it would be funny even still.
Yeah, it was a little awkward on the defense there. I think Midas and Jet Secret weren't quite on the same page again when they were both in the goal box trying to defend. And it looks like Sea to Stars is taking perfect advantage of that, right? With the size of the Kazan, winning a lot of these strike wars and looking for the goal here. That's a lot of cooldowns burned by Jet Secret. Dangerous spot to be in if you're the Fini goalie.
Yeah, it's so hard to clear around this Kazan as well. Great patience on the core flip. Distatic able to take that first set here for misconnections, and that might be just what they need, especially if, and it's going to be Era on the first pick, but if there are some crucial awakenings here, the opportunity to deny the spark of leadership away from this Fini is amazing. Probably sending that down to the Luna, although there is also bulk up, extra special, and hotshot available. Ad rush as well. So many things that you have to deny that I don't think LFDM is necessarily unhappy here, but they'd definitely be happier if they had been able to win this set and not have to go through getting denied these awakenings.
Yeah, oh, wow, that's a really interesting spark of leadership take there. I don't think it's worth denying at this stage of the game, and I do think the draft still pans out in the favor of misconnections a little bit. But I think that with the spark of focus, the second spark leadership would have been worth it there just for the 2 spark effects. Yeah,
and the other thing, right? Era had the opportunity to let that sit because it was Fini that you have to deny the leadership from, and that was 4th pick, so Luna was going to be before that. So there was actually a chance to let that fall down to 3rd pick because you're not going to necessarily take it, but that is a kill. Luna being found out there. Really nice by the Rose Warp from Fishy, seeing that the Luna was going to get close to the goal. You do have to be careful of that some of the time. If the enemy team is on top of your shenanigans as Luna, they can do that, and then they can take the entire momentum of the set and score. Midas really doing a good job there with the end of that. But yeah, Dreaming So High is no longer Dreaming So High after that one. It's crushing when that happens to you as Luna because you feel like you're immortal and amazing with those dashes. You're all over the place, and then something that happens. But never mind, it's going to be a double barrier taken. Really nice aggression there from Misconnections, and it might be the beginning of a resurgence here if they can get it through. But Distatic taking so much damage on the backside of this play that it might be too little too late.
We'll see if Midas and Fishy can take down this barrier quick enough here. Dangerous spot to be in for Sea to Stars, who gets the recovery drone popped relatively early in this set. Good sign for LFDM. While Midas sets up, but doesn't get the barrier here. Too busy pendulum swinging, trying to get some more damage down, and Jet Secret's now in a lot of trouble as Sea to Stars keeps repeating the offense here, but Jet Secret just enough speed to comfortably defend, and Sea to Stars barely missing the hook as well. A lot more room to play with now.
Yeah, and to be fair as well, if there's a few missed things on the side of LFDM, they are looking for murder, not for core control. They just happen to be doing both. But if you're on misconnections, you really have to be on top of this core control because you are getting brawled out. You have to make the most of what you can. And so far, it's been very difficult when you have things like that. This is Estelle. Cetastar sending it backwards, forcing out the core flip. Unfortunate as well, and not catching the core flip. Tragedy strikes the misconnections as they do indeed miss a very important connection there. And it is just brutal. The Luna has 0 prize fighter stacks after that earlier kill. Meanwhile, you have the bulk up 1-2 punch, heavy impact Estelle that is just brawling your brawler and actually winning somehow just because of the sheer amount of damage that is on this Estelle.
Yeah, it is quite a lot, but there is Midas going down. A power play for the first time. Never mind, no power play allowed. Good flip by Jet Secret and a 1 barrier taken on the other side. And Jet Secret has so much speed, just walking up the midfield and keeping core control.
Yeah. Great rocket there from Luna, buys a few crucial seconds for Kazan to get back onto the field, but this is potentially the last point. It has to be all or nothing here. They cannot hold anything in reserve, but unfortunately the Crater Maker was deployed forward. It needs to be maybe used defensively there just to get Midas out of the corner. And it is an open goal here. LFDM has the opportunity to score, and CSR is not getting the connection onto the barrier here. Jet Secret's so good on that defense with some of these last-second saves of the barrier. So much damage as well coming off Piecemeal as well, and so many dodges available from all this energy that is on the side of LFDM, but they are running out. More damage can spell the end of LFDM here if it is allowed to happen. Static also very close too. The core flip has it off the dribble. Rosewarp comes out. Countered the piercing shot and straight for the goal there. No one was expecting that. Dreaming so high, didn't invest the core flip there. But almost didn't need to there. We're going to see how this pans out. The rocket comes out. Fishy with the piercing shot is going to miss. CSR is trying to get it down to the corner with the Butching Beam as well from Dissac. They're trying to get it, but they're almost facing each other a little bit here. They're not perfectly connecting. Dream so finally as the core flip sends it to that gap. And that is a little bit of breathing room for the side of misconnections. They no longer have that open goal. They are no longer in imminent danger of losing if they let one mistake happen. But they do still have only 1 goal left. They want to get the set reset so badly.
Oh, we'll see if they can hold on here. They do take the barriers first. Misconnections with a chance perhaps, but they got to get it out of the corner here. Cetastar is so massive, so much presence on the map with the Kazan. But right now, it's all LF to Midas and 2 barriers taken already. The crater comes down, but Patience coming in, and a good clear by Jet Secret around the Luna dash. They've really nullified the Luna in this game, it feels like.
Yeah, and there are some ways that if you just play around the Luna, and these players know how to play around that Luna. They're doing such a good job of it. Great patience on the core flip as well. Sometimes you want to get it out of there and you don't see the Luna, but they did see the Luna. Piercing shot comes out. Crater Maker as well accelerates it, but it is caught in the end. Kazan able to get a little bit forward. The big finish as well, and in absolutely amazing fashion there. Jet Secret, who has been just hitting such amazing big finishes all along. I think it's rather fitting that it is going to end in that way. And freaking do murder is, well, they did some murder, but they also did some core control. They scored some goals, and what a game. Very back and forth at certain times, but overall it just felt like misconnections were cornered and they couldn't do anything. It was just sort of a death by 1,000 cuts in some cases.
Yeah, it really was, and I think a lot of that was on the back of Jet Secret, who just looked like just looked great. Like no other comments. Just looked incredibly great. I did speak a bit about the awakening choices, but it ended up working out in the end, and working out quite well, in fact, and they played around the game plan perfectly with the momentum boots Vini, and really made it difficult for the Sea Stars, even with the massive size build, to get it done.
Yeah, and get it done they did. And we're going to see more of teams getting it done later on in the tournament, because this is still the pool stage. For those that are not as aware of the tournament format, it is best of ones here in pools, so all of the 6 teams will face each other, so that's 5 matches. And then there will be, for the losers bracket, there will be a couple matches played best of 3 later. But for now, bit of a short break before we go into the next game. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another match of the ISS finale, day 1. It is going to be a match of the Cutie Patooties, a fan favorite, versus Gas League, who I am personally rooting for that long shot. But it is a pretty fun matchup here. We're going to be on Night Market, which is always fun. I have seen Yunaka's Juliet before. It's pretty impressive there. But it is going to be some interesting things coming out here from both teams. Of course, immediately the Octavia ban off of that cast to last. Not as much a fan of that on a map like Night Market with a missile prompt start, because you can kind of just kill her, but it is also very safe to just ban out the Octavia so you don't have to worry about her, so not too bad. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. We'll see how it goes. My favorite memory about Yunaka Ultra Dre is that they played Luna in Bite Breakers, and they were like the only person to make Luna work in 1v1 Bite Breakers and got top 8 at the massive tournament. The only Bite Breakers tournament ever, possibly. And then I asked them, so any opinions on like Luna and Omega Strikers? And they were like, I hate Luna. and speaking of Luna, Tanky McTanky's on that pick.
Yeah, and doing pretty well. I mean, there's already been a kill there, almost 2 here. I mean, it is that X comp, you know, we talk about scaling. Nice save there from Torin, though, against the Estelle, but there's just too many abilities. And, you know, the golden rule, of course, is never clear into Estelle, but the other rule is don't clear into Aimi turrets. So really, as Torin, what do you do there?
Yeah, it would really just have to be a magical clear through the Aimi turret at the right time. And not the easiest situation to deal with here, but I think Symbiotic Sweater is sweating a little bit because Tanky McTanky is getting ready to prep some Luna dash punches.
Yeah, ready for him, but not ready for both the barriers to go down. This is an open goal. Torin playing all the way up here with the somersault, with the Aranado, with the log, but unfortunately it was a great defense there from Gas League as they are still have an open goal. They're struggling to get it forward, but they force Torin back. Tanky McTanky wins that strike war with the dash strike. Glitch Pop sends it forward. Sweater catches it, but the Witching Beam does send it forward a little bit. The Aimi turret buys a lot of time, but Bellringer almost gets it through. Great defense there by Spartan. Strike War failed by Yunaka, even with the X-Tech. And that is going to be Crystal Thorns almost securing the second barrier, but not quite the core flip as well. And that is actually going to be Yunaka getting the kill flip onto the goalie here. And it's only 1-1. I'm not going to lose my mind just yet, but that went from bad to worse for Gas League, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, and that was really well played by Yunaka in particular. Just recognizing that Spartan was just low enough from the chip damage from the previous push to dump all the cooldowns and get the KO, including the flip, right? So that was just well calculated, well played, and we'll see if Cutie Patooties can keep that going.
Yeah, core flip though comes out of Torin there with the Tofu Fortress as well. Crater Maker does a lot of damage, but it doesn't matter because Symbiotic Sweater gets the core and just catches Spartan off guard there. It was a bit of a 50-50 situation. Cut the angle a little close, but it did get it into the goal, so who am I to talk too much about it? 2-1 lead here for the Cutie Patooties as they got up to a rough start, but they seem to be warmed up a little bit now.
Yeah, they do, but one barrier goes down. That is a little bit unfortunate here, but Rabizu's got to watch out a little bit because Yunaka's in there, and if there's one thing Yunaka knows, it's their damage ranges.
Yeah, but the kill does not happen yet, and the Glitch Drop does a lot of damage. Yunaka's very low. The Rose Warp comes out. Almost a kill with Tanky McTanky's core flip there. Paying attention to that, but Rabies is also very low. Core flip forced out of Tanky McTanky there. Crater Maker dodged by Yunaka there. Sweater running up, playing the forward. Just buying some time with Witching Beam dribble on the end there, throwing a wrench in the plans. Even though it sent it backwards a little bit, it also sent it out of the way. That is a very low era there, but that's even an even lower Estelle off the map. Spartan with a nice pass to self after the Cyber Swipe teleport back. Great dodge, though, from Era. Glitch Drop comes out. Core Flip out of the Aimi, does not get the barrier, and Era is able to take 1-2 with Yunaka as well. X-Tech comes out, buys a lot of pressure on this Aimi, but not enough. Barrier goes down to a great dash strike. Crater Maker, though, sends it up. Bellringer misses with the Car Business as well. He's trying to get it done, but the Bull Rush does not get the connection. The Strike War won by Spartan. The Witching Beam gets Luna, but not the core, and Yunaka doesn't actually get the secure there with a great stun, and that is going to be going in all the way over with a red core from Estelle, sending it in. Nicely played there to take us to a 5th point here in set 1, and, well, seems pretty good for both teams here, but it does not reflect that prediction of 20 to 15.4K.
You might want to double your prediction, honestly. You know, you might want to get some more of that chunk, because right now it is looking like it could go either way here. It's looking a lot closer to a 50-50, but my eyes are on that X with the flip, because magic has happened before, but with an open net at their backs, Cutie Patooties are in a lot of danger.
Yeah. Ooh, great strike war winning there by Gas Leak there. I mean, Rabies and Tanky just staggering all of their abilities and strikes so nicely and taking set one. I mean, after that first point, it felt like they were going to take it so easily, and then the Cutie Patooties come back and they just dominate for 2 points, and then suddenly Gas Leak back in it, taking Timeless Creator on that IME, preventing Era from getting it. But that does also mean that team player is available for someone to take, but that doesn't matter if you can just go a kill comp. Luna looking for the 1-2 punch. They're going to deny away the Estelle, who really would like that. And that's going to be X getting something like Glass Cannon, maybe Orb Replicator. Not great, but also it's going to be the Orb Replicator there. I do enjoy some orbs. So not a great draft there for the X, but Luna 1-2 punch, IME Timeless Creator, especially with that missile prop, is just going to be brutal here with those ults coming out.
Yeah, Tanky's going to be looking to dash punch some people, and with the core control as well, right? The rocket light hit into Strike is going to accelerate the core so incredibly quickly. Strike dash is also going to be a huge scoring threat here from the midfield for Tanky. Look at that.
Yeah, there's a really nice red core there from using those rockets with 1-2 punch. A lot of damage as well onto the Zera, but not the kill just yet. Good evasion there from Sweater. I mean, not the actual evasion dodge, but just positioning around the abilities, the physical dodge. And the rocket goes a little wide there. Torin on this defense using the somersault and actually going a little wide, but Symbiotic Sweater has the back, has the back of Dubu. It's going to be Luna getting a second barrier, but the IME ult is now over. They bought a lot of time. The good pop comes out as well. The corner dribbles are nice. Core flip is required, and the piercing shot gets the Dubu and the core. Nicely done by Rabies there, predicting that Dubu would go for the last second core flip instead of waiting it all the way out, and just absolutely brutal from Gas Leak here.
Yeah, it looks like they're fully warmed up, fully ready to play, and they haven't even really finished scaling yet, right? They have so much potential, especially to Luna and Tanky Big Tanky. The world is available in terms of awakenings later down the line. A great late strike to find the barrier as well. A great evade to not get pushed back out of place. And the offense of Gas Leak is just looking like they're on another level. They're maintaining so much energy as well.
Yeah, it's fought back a little. Both the barriers are now down on either side there. But unfortunately, it is going to be Yunaka in front of the goal here with the core flip. But it was required with the core flip. It was a great save from Spartan there to secure that goal. But ideally, you never get to that point. So Yunaka, I'm sure, happy to get the goal, but also investing in the core flip was just such good defense from Spartan there. To make sure that happens. Make him bleed as much as possible for every goal, so there's fewer resources in each set.
Well, we'll see if these resources can be burned by Cutie Patooties. Gas Leak still has the flip available. I think Rabies Zulu held on to that a little bit too long in the previous point. Definitely could have gotten some value out of it, maybe even the point itself. But Symbiotic Sweater, taken incredibly low, needs to be very careful without an evade in this situation.
Yeah, lines up that NATO, expecting Tanky to go down. You can see Tanky was kind of expecting it for a second. There was about to walk forward and said, yeah, maybe the NATO's going down there. But great barrier pickup there. Yunaka as well is going to open up the goal. Torin playing forward with the core flip, sending it forward, but it was countered. And now no core flip on your Dubu goalie there, who's been playing so aggressively. So props to Torin for that, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't pay out. The glitch drop sends it forward. Tanky has the core flip as well, going to use it there. Waits out the roll there, and the IME Firewall Sentry comes out, gets it through the Dubu wall. We're in overtime now, so there's a lot of red cores coming around. The Rocket Dash goes through, the Glitch Pop comes as well, but Symbiotic Sweater is on the pass there. The Bull Rush to get the hit stun on IME means that Spartan cannot do anything, and once again, Cutie Patooties looking 1 point away, and quite strong, but we have been here before as well. Gas Leak earlier did take 1 point, and then had to wait a couple for to warm up again.
Yeah, well, Cutie Patooties are going to be looking to try and replicate their performance here to passing back to try and make use of that team player as well. But similar to the team player is that 1-2 punch of Tanky McTanky. If you're out of position even a moment, as Cutie Patooties like to rotate, Tanky could be the one just firing the core so quickly to the other side of the map.
Yeah, great dribble there by Rabies as well to get it all the way forward, but didn't have anything left to actually get it through this Dubu, unfortunately, so one barrier does still stand here for the Cutie Patooties. And the Tofu Fortress is going to send it forward. Great defense means that only one barrier goes down. That could have easily been a double there. Cyber Swipe means that it's almost two barriers, but not quite. Tanky finally getting the second one there. Really nicely done. The Rose Orb comes out, sends it to the bottom. Butching Beam does not win the strike where there. Piercing Shot does not get it in. That is going to be a kill flip, though, from Yunaka onto Luna. And that is going to be Rabies trying to buy so much time, and actually will buy so much time here. Crystal Thorns goes a little bit wide. Piercing Shot, though, does not and gets it forward. And now Luna is back on the field as of now. Cybersword gets it forward with the Firewall Sentry as well. Rose Warp, Crater Maker, so much invested. The core flip misses from Rabies, unfortunately. Tanky going forward with that dash, but the red cores are all over the place. Symbiotic Sweater still has that core flip. Do pay attention to that. If Tanky walks too close to the edge, that is a kill. If the goal is open, that is a goal. That is going to be Rabies having the recovery drone popped, but the goal is now open as well. Not the demon angle found by Torin, was very close to it, but not quite. Symbiotic Sweater gets the pass from the enemy goalie, was good on the rebound. Strike War lost by Tanky there, and it's going to be won by Yunaka. Really nicely done there by Cutie Patooties to not falter this time around, taking that third point and looking mighty strong on the Scaling X comp.
Well, they got it done. I didn't believe. I thought Gas Leak were on base. I thought they had everything they needed, but no, it was Cutie Patooties. And I think the important thing was they just got caught off guard a lot less that set than the previous one. They played a lot more stably, and that really was the deciding factor here. And looking at the draft as well, there's so many Awakenings available for the X, right? So this is going to be Yunaka and Ultra Dre that is just scaling even further, and with a set on the board relatively early, this X is going to be a problem.
Yeah, but you also have to pay attention to that dash range on the IME being used right there. There's going to be so much more aggression here from the side of Gas Leak. We've been seeing a lot from Torin, of all people, on that Dubu goalie going forward, but actually able to roll backwards there to catch the barrier, or catch the core before it hits the barrier, and that is still two barriers standing here for the side of the Cutie Patooties. Rabies trying to get it through, does get one. The second not quite found there. Tanky not getting a connection. Glitch Pop not perfect as well. The Bell Ringer, though, was, and that is going to be both barriers going down. The Butching Beam hits Spartan, but not the core. And the Cyber Swipe actually was interrupted there by Ultra Dre there. NATO comes through, but the Strike War is won by Spartan. Really good patience on there. Somersault comes out, pass down to Sweater, pass through. Almost Yunaka not winning the Strike War there, unfortunately. His Piercing Shot was a little bit too late there. Doesn't catch the Dubu in that, so he is able to defend the Glitch Pop. The Crystal Thorns coming out, the log as well. Tanky with the dash, with the strike, able to get one barrier, but that's so much invested just to get the goal open. There's nothing left to actually get it through. The Cyber Strike comes out, Glitch Pop, Crater Maker. Never mind, there was a lot through, and it's going to be a strike of all things that gets it done in the end.
Well played by Tanky, but this is becoming a slog of a game, and I think that if it's a slog of a game, then Cutie Patooties are happy. I think that their comp is a lot simpler, and I think that there's a lot more moving parts to Gas Leak, so a lot more room for error here.
Yeah, a lot more room for error, but also a lot more room for kills, and if they can start getting some of these kills, they can really take advantage of just this Luna Estelle IME comp that just has so much kill potential on there, and so much mobility to make use of power plays if they do happen. Great barrier find, though. You can also just control it. Great dodge as well from Tanky. That would almost surely been a kill. Forcing off the core flip as well with a Crater Maker. Brilliant use of that, and the dash rocket there. Tanky hitting the whammy shot there. Really nicely done. Strike War won by Tanky, but there was a log behind it. It's going to be Symbiotic Sweater buying so much time. Glitch Pop actually doesn't get the perfect connection. Bewitching Beam also used there. The Crystal Thorns does not get the connection. Core Flip forced out from Torin as well. So many abilities being used, but in the end, it's still one barrier standing here for Gas Leak. Tanky not finding the dribble there that he was looking for there. Tried to trip up the Dubu by going into the corner instead of into the goal. Bewitching Beam, though, not hitting Spartan on this defense there. Crystal Thorns, Bull Rush, both not getting the connections. Both teams so very close, but not quite. And that's going to be an error going off the core flip with the Piercing Shot. And it was actually a bait. Great movement there by Rabies, moving forward just a little bit so the Piercing Shot doesn't hit the core and you can go for a slightly different angle. Killer strategy there, because if you core flip from that distance with the Piercing Shot, there's enough time just barely to recover, I believe. So going for a slightly different angle was just really brilliantly executed by Rabies.
We'll see if Cutie Patooties can bounce back, but like you said, Gasleak is making full use of their KO potential and of their mobility to find very quick plays that the side of Cutie Patooties just can't keep up with. They don't have dash characters, they don't have blink characters, and on the opposite side, all three of them are.
Yeah, but great passing from Symbiotic Sweater that's really trying to trip up this Aimee, but Spartan not falling for it. Rabies as well with a great fallback there on the defense. Luna using the dash there defensively. Core Flip whiffed there from Spartan. Bit of fear there, but it's understandable when you have that X with Core Flip and Bull Rush in front of your face is going to just Bull Rush strike it in. Now it's an open goal with the Core Flip X in front of it. We're not going to see the Core Flip just yet and might spell the end of it here if Rabies can score with the Crater Maker. And the Firewall Sentry down at the bottom, killing the Dubu. And Yunaka Ultra Dre holding on to that core flip just a tiny second too long, lets it leave the left side of the field, and instantly everything was available. Deadeye is going to Luna. Rest in peace, the Cutie Patooties, to a certain degree. I don't want to count them out just yet because they've come back before, but if I was in this game and I saw Luna first pick with Deadeye, my heart would be falling.
Yeah, that flip really could have been used by Yunaka there. This is an emergency situation due to Adrenaline Rush, the Deadeye, Fight or Flight, everything in the favor of Gasleak here. And of course, spec training, yes, you might see a dash punch or two, but the overall KO power has just exploded on the side of Gasleak.
Yeah, I mean, the ad rush on Aimee as well. I mean, so much core speed there from that Deadeye on the Luna. Even after the nerfs on Deadeye, it's still really good on Luna. Affects all of her abilities so nicely. Cyber Swipe is really nice as well, just to get to the bottom there. Kind of play two places at once because if they hit it to the middle, you can still tell. But great double picked up by Yunaka there. Crystal Thorns as well. Doesn't connect with the dash. So it's one barrier still stand. And Cuties looking not out of it just yet.
Not just yet here. We'll see if they can defend against the passing play they managed to do. So Yunaka wins the strike war and gets the X Maximus strike reset. That's 1-0 in this set, and if they do win here, they'll have the chance to pick up some survivability and make the next set easier. It's all about these next 2 points.
Yeah, this is about the strongest that Gasleak will get. So if you win this set, it means you've won against them at just about their strongest, and you can do so again most likely. So this is kind of the mark here. If they can win just 2 more points, they've already gotten 1, but it's not going to be easy. You're going to see Gasleak locking in a little bit more, getting a few more kills, trying to target whenever there's core flips available, things like that. The NATO comes out, but it's not fully cooked. Doesn't get too much done, unfortunately. Piercing shot stagger or just stalls the core out in the middle. Butching beam as well. Rose Warp is not perfect. Core flip invested there with the glitch pop as well. Tanky trying to get up to where the core was, but not quite in time. Firewall Sentry comes out. Symbiotic Sweater missing the barrier there, unfortunately, and a great Cyber Swipe is going to lead to this clear. Tanky trying to get through. The log at the last second is going to make the defense happen. Somersault as well. Tanky using the core flip with so much patience, waiting out the log and the strike, and that is now an open goal, but Yunaka's in front of the goal, has the X Maximus, has the core flip as well, might have to use it, but he's not going to use it just yet, and it's going to be Tanky with the stun into strike on the core to take the goal. So much invested at the end there, especially the X Maximus and the NATO not going to be available for the start of this point, when I think we're going to have a Crater Maker coming up soon too.
Yeah, that is so rough, and that energy, like you mentioned, is probably going to be burned by that crater very soon, if not any other damage pressure. There's plenty of that. Oh, but wait, a little bit mispositioned, and Yunaka gets off scot-free, but as I say that, it is still a staggered X, but good chance to use the flip here.
Yeah. If Yunaka gets the core for a half second, that is a core flip into the goal. Tofu Fortress, though, just says it's not even necessary. Torin showing that this very aggressive Dubu play with these mom boots is not to be underestimated.
Yeah, and that's a huge swing of momentum, right? Yunaka gets to maintain the flip, gets to become unstaggered, no KO found, Symbiotic Sweater building up a ton of energy as well. Tanky's going to have to do a lot of work if they're going to turn it around, and, well, that Luna's just fallen off the edge.
Yeah, I mean, Torin has been so good. I think that's 3 just about pixel-perfect saves with these somersaults. And we just see it again and again. We see the Luna going off the map, and Cutie Patooties looking, well, very strong here. I wouldn't even say Cutie or Patootie. They are menacing right now, especially with those angles. Symbiotic Sweater just playing with the opponents on that one. The upper corner into Night Market angle, self-pass into top of the goal where you just hit it. I would never in a million years expect that angle, and Sweater just finds it, breaks their ankles, sends it in, and now we're on set 5. Now we have the opportunity to deny Twin Drive from Luna. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, but do you even deny Twin Drive? There's a lot of Awakenings on the board. Heavy Impact gonna give a lot of cooldown reduction to the Era, so that is a justifiable pickup. The main key to this one is getting Reptile Remedy or Bulk Up onto the X, and Bulk Up does indeed fall adequately here. I would have liked both Era and X to pick up Reptile and Bulk Up respectively as soon as they saw that both went unpicked by the time it got to X, but honestly, still a pretty good draft for Cutie Patooties. You just gotta watch out about Symbiotic Sweater taking too much damage.
Yeah, I mean, I do think you have to deny that heavy impact from both the Aimi and the Estelle, though. I don't think there's any way you would actually allow yourself to... Like, yeah, having Reptile Remedy is nice, but great kill, though, found there. That is no longer an Aimi on the field. Picked up there. I didn't see who actually got that one, but so much aggression here now from the QB2Ds, and they are really looking to lock it in here, but Aimi's back on the field. The good drop, it misses a little bit, and Yunaka with all this power on this ultimate is able to get another kill and chain these power plays. Bull Rush doesn't catch the core, but the Witching Beam does. And, I mean, not looking good for the Gas League believers. Looking really good for anyone who's against that zero price fighter stack Aimi, where it's just kind of sad to see the basically one Awakening down. You never like to see that unless you're this X that has this core flip and is running towards Aimi, looking to get a kill flip angle here, potentially if Rabies walks too close to the edge. And they find a barrier as well before anything too much is invested. Nice pickup there, but one found on the other side as well. Spartan playing super far forward as well, looking to make up some of this, but overstays. And that's going to be Yunaka getting this barrier here, using core flip and the bell ringer. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that one. So unless Gas Leak is looking to reverse sweep this set, it is basically GG for Cutie Patooties.
As long as Cutie Patooties can put the core in the net one more time, it is definitely in their favor here. Yunaka picking up that bulk up is so tanky, does so much damage. They really should not have let the Staggered Awakenings fall down, because I think Yunaka would be doing something similar even with Reptile Remedy. I think it should have been a double deny by Tanky and whoever was the pick earlier. There were definitely two picks on Gaslight that were ahead, but now it's Yunaka, the scoring machine, so incredibly strong right now. All it takes is one more opening.
Yeah, and a bit of a pass to the opponent there. Rabies falling to the pressure and getting it to the Era, and instead Tanky losing his strike core, but winning against the Witching Beam. Rocket almost hits Dubu. That would have been a nice way to finish this off. Tanky missing the self pass. So much pressure on these players. They are trying to play their best, but it is so hard in this situation. You are 1 point away from this game being over. The Rocket comes out, the Firewall Sentry as well. So much damage potential, but the Cuties managed to get the clear away from that Aimi ultimate there. Rabies with that core flip, looking to use it when there's a chance, but there's just so much in the way. The Kratomir comes out, the piercing shot as well. The log is used. That is a kill onto Era. This is an opportunity. The power play. The Crystal Thorns comes out. They're trying to get it with the Rose Roar. The Night Market angle is almost amazing, but it's defended even still. Torrent is just rock solid on this defense. The core goes behind! And of all the ways for that goal to go, I would not have expected that.
Oh, that was almost a disaster for Gas Leak. They had so many shots on goal, but Cutie Patooties defended all of them, or Gas Leak barely missed a bunch of them, depending on the situation. But they get out of it alive with a slow roller to the bottom side where Torrent's roll didn't connect. And now I think the Cutie Patooties are in a bit of panic, but, you know, forget I said that.
Yeah, I mean, Spartan again trying to make use of this Aimi dash range to put it through. They do get two barriers, though. Nice pickup there by Gas Leak. The pass up to Rabies, the rocket dash, but it's not quite the connection that you were looking for. It doesn't hit the core. They're trying to set up a piercing shot. They're trying to set up rocket damage onto Symbiotic Sweater. Torrent stalling out the core. Actually, a little bit bad for Cuties, but the Bull Rush, the core flip, the Aimi turret, not enough, and Yunaka sends the core and the Aimi into the goal. GG's to both teams. Gas Leak giving a heck of a game, but in the end, it's going to be Cutie Patooties that come out on top.
Yeah, and this time, your 10 channel point heist is unsuccessful. But, you know, what a game from Cutie Patooties. They held on till the end. They got the scaling they needed. And Gas Leak, they had a lot of chances, but it wasn't easy.
It was not easy indeed. But that is going to be the end of this one. We still have a few more games to come out before we decide who the people moving on into the brackets are. But I will not be here. I'm going to be kidnapped real quick, but you will get a new caster, so treat him right. Keep cheering for the teams that you want to cheer for because there are still more games to happen. But that is all for me. Sai, any last words?
Nope. Goodbye, and see you soon.
See you after this.
Hello, party people out there. This is ISS Season 3 finale. This is the big one, and we've got a heck of a match for you right here, right now. Let's frickin' do murder against Cutie Patooties coming off of a hot match. I am P. Flair. This is Saya. Saya, tell me the tale of the tape here.
Well, Cutie Patooties, they're off of a great win versus Gas Leak in their previous match. It went set 5, but in the 5th set, they were dominant. And this is a team to fear, especially when Yunaka, formerly known as Ultra Dre, gets the X, just like they did here. Torin gets a Dubo, just like they did here. And this time it's Smagzin instead of Symbiotic Sweater. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely going to be a hot one, and that's not to say, let's frickin' do murder is no slouch. I mean, much like Cutie Patooties, they came off of a surprisingly close match here, and they have shown that they have the mettle to take this all the way. Question is, though, if they can get around this Cutie Patooties team that is hot, hot, hot on fire.
Yeah, LFDM in a bit of a problematic spot, right? If you are 1 and 2 in this group stage, you are on the verge of getting eliminated in pools. A win here versus the Cutie Patooties would be huge, and we'll see if they can manage to do so. I think both these teams affiliated with Cutie Patooties in some way or another in a little bit, but Yunaka is going to be the first one to press forward, and you're already seeing the power of that X, but Torin loves to push up. Sometimes gets punished for it like we're seeing here.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch that if they want to keep that goal safe and keep that core from going in. We've seen more than once, yeah, especially against Rasmus like this, Torin's tendencies may come back to bite him. But that is only 1 point. There is much left to go.
Yeah, and earlier on Taiko Temple, Jet Secret on the Fini. Looked fantastic. This time on the strike shot, was on the momentum boots earlier. I did like them. I did like seeing them on momentum boots. I think the consensus is that it's stronger right now, but Yunaka is doing the same game plan as always, and that is just putting on pressure, whether it be on the barriers or on the players.
Yeah. Smog's already looking like pretty good. They seem to have the idea of what to do, like with those glitch pops already. And the thing about Aimee is that she is one of the best characters, I feel like, in the game, just because she's so versatile. And it's one of those things where she is as good as the player is, almost simply because of the tools that she has. So I'm curious to see how Smogs can pilot her.
Forget about the midfielder, though. Smags has not touched the core in the past point. It is all Torn and Yunako with a fast play into the enemy goal box. And importantly, the X maintains the flip as well.
Yeah, that's going to definitely come in handy for them if they want to like secure any kind of like barriers, or if they want to maybe play a little defense like what's happening, like what was happening now. Their goal's already open, so if Yunaka can keep this up, keep this pressure going, then they won't have to worry about that, and they can use that mostly for offense, and that's clearly what they're trying to hope for here.
Yeah, a lot of flips on the board here, so I think both teams will have to be very, very careful when playing around the core right now. But what a blink into flip from Ella Fishy, taking away a flip on the other on the other side as well, and that's a huge swing.
It's not what this team are looking for, and it is Do Murder that are trying to live up to their name and live up to it well.
Yeah, we'll see though. Yunaka continuing to press the corner, and that firewall center does a lot of work. The goalie's taken out as well. The core goes around Tobu Fortress, but Torn tracks it down, and now all it takes is one pass, but they got to watch out for Midas, who's patrolling the midfield here as the core is accelerating in overtime.
They are holding on right now, excuse me, let's freaking do murder, but it is a close run thing with the way this core is flying. Very nice. It's a very nice finish there. Knocks it out and gets that point for them. That is only like the third point. We are just on set point, and it's already going kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is going a little bit crazy here. And it's a good look for Let's Freaking Do Murder, right? That team is holding on just enough, and Jet Secret, of course, not on the momentum boots this time, but still looking decently confident.
Yeah, Jet Secret put on a show that last match, so definitely trying to look for a repeat here as the big finish goes in every which way. Midas definitely on the hunt here. Rasmus so squirrely and so able to like control the core however they want. Boom, nice catch, nice redirect, nice goal from them.
Yeah, and now that we're in the draft phase, I'll talk a little bit about Starting Awakening. Spark of Leadership, technically banned, but both teams, just in the interest of getting into game on time, just decided to play it out like this. And I gotta say, I think everyone misdrafted who took Spark of Leadership, except for Estelle, because of course spec training kind of useless on Estelle, and we're seeing here 2 Sparks decent on Estelle just by the virtue of being 2 Sparks. But the issue with Spark of Leadership right now is that it is incredibly weak, and not in the sarcastic way. It is incredibly weak. And I think that everyone else, other than Estelle and X, of course, who did, well, X took the spec training, which is good choice.
Yeah.
But everyone should have taken spec training, because Spark of Leadership is in a pretty horrible spot right now. And honestly, the result of the ban is kind of like saving people from themselves.
I mean, I basically have to agree with you, if for slightly different reasons. Like, I don't disagree that Spark of Leadership is bad, but what I'm saying is why that was a bad draft is simply because so many people took it. Only so many people are going to be able to benefit off of it, and like you said, by itself, super weak. Even with like three or so Sparks, still weak. And you can see Midas already like taking advantage of that built different. That built different is going to be worth 3 Sparks at this rate.
Yeah, Sparks used to be on top of the world, not anymore. It's still useful if you can get a collection of them, but that's more to do with the collection than any individual one itself. Right now, though, Smags in the bottom side to go and try and help out Yunako with the Firewall Sentry, but not quite enough to find the goal just yet, and now Fishy patrolling the midfield.
Yeah, very nice in how they are able to keep that core up there. There were a couple of close calls, but Fishy proving very skilled, and I think that was Midas who flipped for a kill as well. Something happened to get that kill there, and they go 2 up. Very nice, very heads-up play by Do Murder.
Yeah, and wow, that Quangle was incredibly delayed, but it still worked out for Fishy. Going up for a pass to Midas, and the mobility of Midas is really helping out in these situations where when Yunaka is in position to get the core. They are doing a lot of work, but Midas is in position all over the map.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Jet Secret also normally was doing like very well, went up a little bit too far, and Fishy just sniping as Yunaka just beating the goalie at their own game, knocking it out of the park. It's kind of wild how these points are going. It's hard to predict how these end, and that is a sign that these players are considering, and they are playing, they are counterplaying, and I feel like they're already kind of like very much in each other's head.
Yeah, more than that, it's that they're doing things that the other team isn't ready for, right? Yunaka is getting caught out more than once by the blink snipe from Fishy, especially with the core flip version mixed in as well. So Yunaka's got to start adapting to that. Usually is the one putting pressure on the opposing team near the edge, but this time is getting pressured so much. But there's a cyber swipe. There's a Swiss Army knife of Aimi that you were talking about, but Torrid lagging a little too much and is in a lot of trouble.
That is not what you want to see happen. Gets put in the back of the net, and the core follows with a quick shot from Fishy. 3-1. They take the set. Estelle still MVP and could very much get rewarded for it. That's another spark on the board if they want it, but there's also Deadeye, Primetime, some good options here.
Yeah, that Deadeye is going to do a lot of work, but my eyes are on that fight or flight available for the Rasmus. That guy is going to be flying across the entire map. Denies the bulk up instead. Yo, swap the picks. What is that? What? Why are you putting fight or flight on your goalie?
I can only presume that they are worried about like how they were worried about like Jet Secret for some reason. Maybe they want him to add a little bit more extra offense. Although, because I noticed Jet Secret has been kind of like playing up a little bit, but that's just me guessing. Because
but it's conditional
my actual answer is
speed.
I don't know.
You touch the core. It's really bad on the goalie. Like, you have to touch something, right? You have to hit an enemy. You have to hit the core. You have to strike. You have to do something. And that would be well served on Midas, who's doing a lot of dribbles, a lot of passing plays. And meanwhile, Jet Secret would benefit from the core speed from bulk up, the additional bulk to make sure Yunaka can't do it. Well, I guess they're letting Midas survive a little better. But I don't think it's the correct choice. They definitely should have swapped. But yeah, right now though, Jet Secret really could use that bulk up, but Yunaka's the one taking more damage. So I think all is well for the moment, at least.
Yeah, Yunaka getting bounced around, getting killed. Pardon me. So that is a power play for Let's Frickin' Do Murder, as they do, as the name implies. They get that second barrier. Law goes out, shoots it hard. Flip comes out from Fishy, does not make it into the goal. Very careful situation, very worrisome situation. And for Cutie Patooties, Let's Frickin' Do Murder with the big finish for the first goal in this potential last set.
2 more goals to go. They're spamming the Lily Bun Stab emote. I'm not sure if you have the mod pack equipped, but that is the newest update. And they love that one. And they're loving how this game's going, with Midas already having a flip available pretty much.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful, as well as Smags going down to that incredibly dangerous chain from Rasmus. Midas proving that they know all the tricks.
Yep, and we'll see if they can get a little bit more value here. Up to Fishy around the world. They're rotating the core quite efficiently and making sure Yunaka, the relatively slow X, can't get anything done. The orb's being stolen. Fishy runs into the enemy goal box to make sure the regen can't be found, and there's the KO. They're counterplaying perfectly.
Answer for everything right now as they all collapse on this last barrier. Fishy down to Midas, passing plays going through, combo, and that is numero dos. Fishy with the snipe, Midas with the secure. Very, very nice. One more.
All it takes is one more goal, and then the group gets a lot more interesting with a bunch of teams at 2-2. Fishy now getting a lot of damage early, and Yunaka is just taking so much. No meter available. That's an incredibly vulnerable X right now.
Yeah, looking looking a lot more squishy, looking like a whole lot of ground beef. Thank you very much. Midas and Fishy, they're all trying to keep those barriers from going down. They do trade at the end of the day. Torin doing their best to get it out of there. Fishy, though, still on the hunt. They are collapsing on this barrier, on this goal one more time. Up and down the core goes. Beautiful Rose Warp. 3 and out. We are done here. Let's freaking do murdering the competition. Cutie patooties, not quite so cute right now.
Yeah, absolutely dominant performance from LFDM. Cutie patooties. They're also at 2-2, but that's like a sadder version of the 2-2, right? It's a 2-2 you don't want to be in if you were at 2-1 before. Whereas if you were the one with the losing record, you're happy to have moved up in that way. The group is very, very close right now, with only Boss at 3-0 and a bunch of teams at 2 wins and some at 1 loss, some at 2 losses. Let's see how it pans out.
Yeah, this is going to be this is a wild one already. So many teams still jockeying for position, still trying to break out. Boss, even with that 3-0, no, they need to constantly keep one eye in the rearview mirror, because there are way too many teams coming after them right now for them to feel particularly comfortable, is my statement.
Yep, but we're going to go to a short break, and when we're back from that, we will see the final match of the group stage to decide who really does move on. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
自然に揺れる森の先へ突き立てた指黄金に抱かれる準備はいい魂を燃やせ生きてる証を探そう私一人では見つけられない永遠の苦しみも切なの安らぎとなれ胸を焦がすこの炎を消えない
Hello everyone, we're back. Final series of the night. Only 3 matches remain, and they're all in this round. And this one's an important one for LFDM. A win here would secure their place in the final bracket and in quite a good spot as well. But a loss here would put them in a bit of jeopardy because Gas League has the head-to-head on them, and that could bubble them out at tied for 5th place. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, get me a goal. Definitely looking to play a bit of spoiler here for Let's Frickin' Do Murder, but that is, as we've seen, can be a bit of a tall order. Though with this lineup, it is eminently possible.
Yeah, definitely possible. We'll see if that is indeed the case. This interesting draft, I gotta say. I do not see Light Sky Cyan on the IME as often, and on the other side, Finny Vice Kazan seems like you'll have a little bit of trouble in the mobility department, but there's plenty of damage from Finny and Vice, and there's plenty of KO confirming from the Kazan, so maybe they'll have a great time.
Quite possibly, especially considering you have timeless and specialized training, and I feel like all of Let's Frickin' Do Murder are plenty happy with those two for your starting awakenings. And while Get Me a Goal just almost probably not too broken up about it either. So as we get this started, both two barriers at the bottom both have been traded, and the question though is whose game plan is basically going to come online first. We've seen Let's Frickin' Do Murders be able to activate surprisingly quickly, but the question here is like, what can Get Me a Goal do to like prevent that?
Yeah, right now the biggest problem has been the Jet Secret Finny that has been so mobile. The strike shot this time, not the biggest fan of that, but it's still a relatively speedy character with very low cooldowns that Jet Secret is using perfectly to put damage pressure on spots that debuff is doing so much work, and Midas and Spots are both not long for this world.
Ooh, and it is Midas' first blood gets taken from them, and Get Me a Goal doing their best to take advantage.
Fishy though had a chance to flip, doesn't quite go for it there. Might regret it if the damage keeps pouring on here, and a flip burned by Jet Secret to stay alive. Good shot by Spots to take the barrier now, but a flip in front of the net. Fishy with the stall, burns the flip from respect, but the save is still made.
Yeah, waited a little bit too long there, but Core is still in enemy territory, and Midas with a quick reception splits the difference, and first point goes to Let's Frickin' Do Murder.
Yep, well played by them. They do burn a lot of energy, but the same can be said about Get Me a Goal, right? They have nowhere near flips everyone on the map right now, and that means that Finny debuff is going to be extra scary. This time it does whiff, though the triple take goes wide, and the pressure is on here as the core is being contained by Get Me a Goal.
Yeah, you see how Spots managed to redirect there, but that Supernova redirects a body out of the map. Power play for Let's Frickin' Do Murder. This is basically what they always want as they try and collapse on the goal. They do not get the goal before the power play runs out, however, but you can expect a lot more from that, especially as Spots already looking very low.
Fishy surviving that hook, even though it's spec traininged up. And wow, that is so much damage on Jet Secret as well, but Fishy regenning and Midas staying healthy means that Jet Secret has plenty of room to play with because the core is being trapped on the other end.
Yeah, and another supernova. Fishy just rocking out this game. And not quite able to get the pass, Midas, as it goes back and forth across the world. They are trying to finish this point off real bad, and it's going every which way but the way they want.
And with Cyan having that flip, they're in a lot of trouble, but Fishy, an amazing clear through the firewall sentry, waited for a tick and immediately struck. They need to find it around the Ivy, and they do. They bait out the flip, and they get the goal.
Full timing. Cyan not quite in position. Flip, missed. And that's just the second point of this whole set. They are going hard out the gate here, and for very, very good reason.
Yeah, win here, I believe, would guarantee them winner side of, win here guarantees them winner side of the final bracket, and you want that. There's only 2 teams in winner side, there's 2 teams in loser side. It's a lot.
That's just a lot less headache, a lot less heartache that you have to kind of go through as long as you're on winner's side. And you can definitely tell both teams are feeling that, as Get Me a Goal does manage to open the goal, and they trying to get one for themselves. They are a little bit behind there, but beautiful defense from Murder. But Get Me a Goal saying, we can do the violence too.
Yeah, and good read by Respect that the offense is continuing for Get Me a Goal. They need a goal here, and a good strike by Jet Secret. Another supernova. You were talking about it, right? Supernova after supernova for Fishy has gotten so much value.
She is a superstar, and sometimes stars fall directly on your head. That supernova putting in a lot of work, but frankly, so is Jet Secret. It bounced around with the big bounce him around with a big finish. Ended another power play for Let's Freaking Do Murder. This is already like just a very bloody fight, and with the draft coming up, it's only going to get a heck of a lot worse.
Yeah, OFDM trying to close this out in a clean way, but Midas, unnecessary damage from the center, is in a bit of trouble now. Bounced around. And Spots and Cyan approaching here, but another big finish. Jet Secret on point with every single one of these. Makes it so difficult to score if you're Get Me a Goal. Oh.
Yeah, but they do manage it. Spots with the 1v1. Calls ISO, says, I can get around you. Check this. And fakes him out, punches straight in. So they are on the board. They are not willing to let this set go too quickly. Meanwhile, Let's Freaking Do Murder. Just got to shake that off and try to continue what you've been doing. That's easier said than done. But hey, you got one barrier. Let's see if you can get the next.
And Let's Freaking Do Murder. They're on track right now, but they do lose both barriers from a nice snipe by Respect, and now a panic flip by Jet Secret tries to send it to the other side of the map. Midas trying to hook it forward. No, doesn't have the cooldown, and now it Spots on a breakaway. Catches Jet Secret stepping up a little bit too far. They overextended, and just like the previous time, Spots with the 1v1 win.
Yeah, like that's Rasmus in general. Rasmus and honestly Kazan both kind of have that dangerous problem. You do not want to get caught in a 1v1 with them. You do not want to call ISO on them. Just don't. They will shake you out of your shoes.
They're taking early. A lot of damage on Cyan, though. Going to get blown up. Supernova coming in. Not fast enough to catch the Aimi, and the save made as well while going back for the orb. The other side it goes. Jet Secret can't catch it in time. Would have benefited from the momentum boost instead of the strike shot in all of these cases, unfortunately, as it's a 3-2 set win for Get Me a Goal. It's a comeback set win as well.
Ran it back. Get Me a Goal says, we just need the goals. It does not matter when we get them as long as it is within the set. We getting 3 means we still getting 3 and you not. So now they are rewarded for that hustle with a lot of good stuff here. I'm seeing Might of the Colossus are built different. Heck, Castellas if you want it. Stacks. Nate, take your pick. I see Primetime out. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes here, but my eyes are on that Monumentalist. The big finishes have gotten so much value, and Jet Secret's going to have even more pull with those.
Yeah, that is going to be a very, very big gravity well. And honestly, also, I do want to say, nice. I mean, it's good that Built Different got taken by Vice. That's going to definitely help them out a little bit, just with a lot more coverage as well. Although I am also vaguely surprised at the stacks on stacks, although it's good anyway, so I'm not too surprised. Like I said, just vaguely. So we'll see how that all works out for them. You can see one barrier taken on each side right now, but Get Me a Goal definitely fighting for this. They are not wanting to let these barriers go anytime quick. They are trying to make absolutely certain that Let's Frickin' Do Murder is not in a position to actually do murder.
Looking for a dribble here. Fishy to the bottom side. Trying to find this barrier early, and a lot of damage onto Cyan as well as Midas goes in. Not quite enough though, as Fishy's the one taking a lot of damage. But the big finish is just too massive. The barrier's taken as well. And although it's a 2v2, I think LFDM in a good spot right now.
Yeah, right now Spots just had to, only real choice there was to try and juggle it out. Like burn the clock out, which they do, but it might cost Spots their life as they are still trying to hustle for this last barrier. Nearly gets pulled out, gets blasted into the goal barrier. That is it for that, and that is it for Spots for a brief period of time. As Supernovas comes out, Big Finish comes out, everything comes out, and that core goes sailing into the bottom corner, courtesy of one Jet Secrets. That Finny is proving a menace.
Absolutely a menace right now, the Jet Secret. Just walking around at the moment, but a barrier goes down. Spots capitalizes on the second, looking for the finisher here as Cyan's taking a lot of damage but has full meter. That could be a flip. That could be the goal right there.
Yeah, they are almost in prime position. Cyan now has the meter, comes out. Flip is ready and rocking to go. Flip comes out, gets stuffed.
Yeah, that is rough, but there's a KO from Spots. The momentum shifting, but there's a KO, another Supernova. Fishy gets it done. The strike shot gets it away from Respect, but right now it's waiting for the respawns as Fishy's still low.
Yeah, it's basically 2.5 on one side. Meanwhile, 2.5 on the other. This violence just does not stop, but Spots is ready for it. Just fights through the pain, fights through the people, and knocks it in between two defenders for the tie-up.
All right, looking for a little bit more here, but you got to be careful, right? The health bars are dwindling. There's so much damage on both teams right now that if you miss one of 8, if you miss position into too many abilities, then you will get blown up, like Fishy's getting blown up right now.
Go Fishy down, getting fished out, getting knocked out, and that is once again a power play for Get Me a Goal. They are trading blows here very hard, these two teams. Like you said, one missed play and where did your life go? It's gone. Magic tricks not only in the wheelhouse of Finny for this one.
Yep, looking for the rebound now, but Spots taken so low here, regenning just barely, but the KO being looked for by Midas, but Spots heals all the way back up. Stagger bugged, not staggered at all, and Cyan taking a little bit of damage as well.
It's just very powerful back and forth as overtime kicks in here. Get ready to see some red cores, ladies and gents. That is one barrier gone. They are trying to get that goal. Get me 1, get me 2. They are trying to get the full 3. Passes abound. Turret goes out, keeping it in defense, and Jet Secret can't get it as the turret just kind of knocks it in. That is 2 for Get Me a Goal, and they are looking to extend this lead.
Looking to extend this one. We'll see if they can finish this one off here. But the question is, can they be consistent, right? Jet Secret has been putting on the pressure, the damage pressure overall from Let's Frickin' Do Murder, fitting with their name, has been just overwhelming right now. But here's both barriers going down. They got the scoring pressure as well.
Yeah, one barrier goes down for Let's Frickin' Do Murder. 2 barriers go down for Let's Frickin' Do Murder, and a body goes down, unfortunately, for Let's Frickin' Do Murder. But a bounce, was that the, yes, that was a bad bounce off the black hole. Own goal, not what you want to see.
It is the strike shot syndrome. why strike shot it when the core is coming to you? I will never understand, but that habit has just earned Let's Frickin' Do Murder a free goal. Respect C3. I expect to see you on a different gear. But joking aside, right now we're seeing own barriers, own goals all over the place. It's a chaotic game. It's a very important game in this pools, and I think the nerves are setting in, but Spots is in position. Jet Secret with a good defense to get it out of there.
Spots ready still. They're saying like, nerves, what nerves? I got this. One barrier goes down for get me a goal. They are defending on that next one. C3 on the defense, trying to catch someone out. No dice. They are trying to figure out a play to get this out of their territory. They do manage to push it out, but the question is, for how long do they manage? Big Finish comes out, knocks it back up. Fishy manages to get it back into their core. It is bodies flying everywhere. There is so much knockback on both of these teams as overtime comes in. There goes Fishy, and it is the opportunity of a lifetime for Get Me a Goal.
Good triple take by Jet Secret, but how much longer can they hold? Taking chip damage, top side of the goal wide open. Spots with the flip available and threads the needle between two. It's a 2-0 set lead for Get Me a Goal. All they need is one now, and they have the advantage in this draft.
It is incredible how they have managed to hold. That is what I feel is kind of like their key here. Even though this was a close one, they have managed to clutch it out when necessary, make those critical goals on offense, and they have been rewarded for it immensely. Big Fish going to Rasmus. He is going to love that.
Yeah, that additional size is going to make it so much more difficult to navigate here. And we'll see how it goes, but I think that it is no coincidence that Spots is MVP here. They have been the most impactful player in the scoring aspect. The KOs have been going left and right, but there's only one player that is really just consistent in this game so far.
Yep, but in a wild battle like this, it is any kind of consistency that will help you out. But meanwhile, Spots going out, trying to get cleaned up. Let's Frickin' Do Murder remembered, oh yeah, we hurt people. And there goes one. There, Cyan was nearly dead, and the goal goes in courtesy of one Fishy. Very nice.
Wow. Yeah, that was a bit of miscommunication, I think. Cyan didn't expect the core to end up there, but respect burned the strike earlier. Definitely should have been a defensive strike there, but it's hard to tell in the moment. I like how they damage focus Spots here. Definitely the start of the show, this Rasmus has a lot of individual scoring pressure, even without a midfielder to help out. So even if Cyan's is damaged, Spots can make a solo play, but if Spots is damaged, it's a lot harder for get Me a Goal to get it done.
Yeah, but they've got to be like looking out for that now. Spots looking relatively unbothered. It's Cyan who is looking hurt, dangerous. Watch out, kitty cat. But no, they do leave a present, and Spots takes advantage, knocks it into the turret for the goal. Teamwork, dreamwork, you know the saying.
We'll see how it goes right now, but Midas has got to be careful using that top spin near the edge. You turn very killable when you're locked in that animation. And now it's Fishy with the dribbles. Fishy looking for a bounce. Spots getting the rebound, but it's a Sad Boys angle. No barrier found at all.
That was unfortunate, but in this map it's gonna happen. They do make it up though, very quick to barrier. Bounce off the center line, and C3 with the beautiful shot for the end goal. So for the second goal, they are one away.
Only one goal away here. Looking for the dribbles, a ton of damage onto Fishy, pressuring the member with Flip right now, almost taken out, flipped, but not quite enough. There's the follow-up hook, Spots low as well, but gets the orb right on time. That's a huge swing in the favor of goal.
Goal. This is their opportunity. This is their moment. Triple take, trying their best to keep it in enemy territory for Let's Frickin' Do Murder, but it is looking not quite so hot for them at this stage in the game. Never mind. Jet Secret one with a flip and one with a kill as they collapse on this barrier. But Jet Secret goes up a little bit too far. Luckily, Triple Take saves that, and a card decides that they are not out of it yet. Wanna see a magic trick? Pick a card, any card. This card is your goal.
Well played by Jet Secret. But we're going to need to see more consistency here from the entire team of LFDM, because right now there's a lot of brilliance, but when there isn't, Spots is there taking both barriers and scoring, and we're seeing that right now. Cyan is low. They need to get this KO as soon as possible.
Yeah, they are hunting for it. Big Finish comes out, flip as well. There they go. Said they needed it, and Cyan is outbound for the count. Though they do get a barrier, anti-power play, and C3 launches it in the enemy territory. This is their moment. Not quite the angle. Spots nearly with an amazing shot, but it is C3 with the shot, sets it up. They knock it in. That is the goal. That is the set. That is the match. Get me a goal. Gets themselves a win.
Not just any win, right? A decisive one in terms of set count. Incredibly well played by them. 3-0 of DM. It was close in the sets themselves, but they just couldn't close it out. Just a little bit of inconsistency on the defense, really. And just rushing a little bit on the KOs. Get me a goal, capitalize perfectly on all of that.
Yeah, it was. They were eager for it, were LFDM, and it got away from them a little bit, one too many times. I'll definitely say that. And like you said, they were quick to take advantage or get me a goal, especially on the point of Spots. Beautiful, beautiful play there. Look at that, 51 shots on goal. 130 redirects, just very nice play there on all their parts, really. Respect coming in clutch, I'm going to say that. So respect to C3, respect them. Cyan, very nice as well, just very good play, and they're going to feel good about this one, I think.
Yeah, and unfortunately that means LFDM, despite a solid showing here, will not be making it into the final bracket, I believe. Their head-to-head is... Actually, their head-to-head's an interesting spot, actually. It all depends on what happens in Boss Cutie Patootie, so... everything is still up in the air, I think. That's crazy.
Right. I believe that is it for now. Or do we got more to go? Is there still...
I'm gonna check if we have any POVs. No, we don't.
Nope. That's it.
That's it.
That's all we got.
Congratulations to Get Me a Goal, though. They secure their ticket into winner side of the ISS finale final bracket. That means they're guaranteed top 3.
Congratulations to them. With what they showed, I am sure they are going to make a show of it, and I think we are all looking forward to that. So if there is nothing else to say, I think we are going to say good games. Peace out.
See ya.